our trip to the moon with the help of our magic telescope and our imagination.
Hey Gramps, what you doing?
Hey, hi Colin, how are you?
Good.
Hey, you know what? I'm working on my telescopes and I happen to have taken out my magic telescope. And you can use it today. What would you like to look at?
The moon.
Oh, hey, I tell you, that's perfect. Now, I've got another job to do. I know you
Okay.
can run this.
Yep.
And so I'll take off and I'll see you in a while.
Okay. Wow, the moon.
This is an animation of the Apollo 11 flight to the moon over 50 years ago. The main rocket was dropped off and the lunar module was attached to the command module. The flight to the moon with the three astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, took just over 2 days. They circled the moon 30 times. Then Armstrong and Aldrin went into the lunar module called the Eagle, finally separating from the command module and heading to land on the moon surface at the Sea of Tranquility. Michael Collins was left in the command module called Columbia, continuing to orbit the moon. The light gray capsule behind the command module is called the service module that carried things like batteries for electricity, oxygen, and fuel for the flight. When returning to Earth, the service module separated from the command module and, well, it was burned up in the atmosphere. After landing, Armstrong and Aldrin spent just about 1 day on the surface of the moon, the first people to walk on something else beside the Earth. They spent time collecting soil samples, taking pictures, and video of the surface. The gold-colored part of the landing craft stayed on the ground during their takeoff. The rest of the craft, Eagle, joined the Apollo command module. Soon after, the Eagle was sent into orbit around the moon and continued to orbit the moon before gravity took over and it crashed onto the surface. The astronauts returned to the Earth a few days later. During splashdown, the command module landed upside down, but it was able to right itself within a few minutes with the flotation bags that you see on the top of the module. Now it's our turn to travel from the shores of Lake Norman in Mooresville to the moon, about 240,000 miles from the Earth, but can be as close as 220,000 miles, which they call a supermoon, and as far away as 252,000 miles. We always see the same side of the moon as it takes the moon 27.3 days to go around the Earth once, and that's exactly how long it takes for the moon to turn on its axis one time. And from full moon to full moon, it takes 29 and a half days. Well, just on the side of the moon that we see all the time, there are hundreds of thousands of craters that are more than a half-mile wide. The dark areas of the moon are called maria or seas. An interesting thing about the moon is that it is moving away from the Earth at about 1.5 inches per year. The moon and the Earth have a special relationship. We know that the moon's gravitational pull on the Earth causes the high and low tides, but it also affects the Earth's spin. Well, we don't notice anything right now because, well, our day is 24 hours long. But 500 million years ago, the moon was a lot closer to the Earth, and the Earth was spinning faster, so that the length of the day was more like 21 hours long. And in the future, 500 million years from now, well, the Earth's day will be more like 27 hours long. Well, we can get ready to go and land on the moon. The moon's surface, it was a good landing. It's a good thing we didn't land on the side of a crater. One of the thoughts is having another mission to the moon in the future. Studies have been made about the moon to see if also a moon base could be possible. The moon has a really big temperature change from the sun side to the shade side. In the sun, the temperature can be as high as 270 degrees above 0 Fahrenheit, and the shade side can have a temperature 240 degrees below 0. There are so many things to mention about the moon, but just a few things. That one, during an Apollo mission to the moon, a machine called a seismograph that records moonquakes, like earthquakes, was put there. It was found out that moonquakes can last as long as an hour, but not nearly as strong as the type we see on the Earth. Then another type of rocket mission sent to the moon was to see if there was water ice on the moon. This is important if they plan to put a base there on the moon sometime. Well, the mission was called L-Cross, and a probe was sent crashing into the moon, sending a lot of dust to the upper regions. And another probe flew through that dust and found, yes, there was water ice, which was a wonderful discovery. And, well, they plan to hopefully make another mission to the moon with astronauts in the year 2024, 4 years from now. We've now spent 15 days on the moon, and from the Earth, the moon is now called a new moon. Well, we'll travel back and eventually land in Mooresville by the shores of Lake Norman, ready to talk about our adventure. Enjoy the ride.